What's up, everybody, and welcome to my Hell in a Cell review. There are a lot of reactions up right now as posted, but want to get into the show tonight, and a lot of things happening tonight, really, on Hell in a Cell. And wow, was it more good than bad or bad than good? And we'll kick it off with a pretty much a spot fest, really, for cruiserweights. It was Cedric Alexander, Sin Cara, and Lince Dorado versus I believe Drew Gulak, Arya Davari, and Tony Nese. Pretty much Alexander picking up the win. Good way to get the crowd kind of hot for a second, but um, it was a cruiserweight match. Even though I don't like how they do a cruiserweight sometimes. And I found kind of funny for Raw when it comes to being when the tables are out there, because the Spanish and German announce table are out there at the front with the regular announce table is up in the back pretty much by the stage. And we kicked off the show with Roman Reigns versus Rusev for the U.S. Championship, even though people booed Roman Reigns still anyways. And, could not still get Reigns over enough that people would not boo him. They were pretty much let's go Rusev sucks chance, and some Roman, let's go Roman, Roman sucks. And, let me say about this Hell in a Cell real quick. Because I think this Hell in a Cell went really long. Yes, it was. It was a good Hell in a Cell match, but it's not like we didn't see anything that crazy or bloody. Yes, Rusev did have a little bit blood on his arm in a way. And by the way, just to kick off the show, off was literally the official first match of the night for the pre-show. So the fact that they gave them the first spot out there was like just kind of like, okay, we're doing this first. And here's the thing with Roman Reigns versus Rusev, which I'm sure Super Reigns comes out when you look at it. Rusev, and let me say this, Rusev hit Reigns with kendo sticks in that vest, even though it's protecting him, a steel chair, steel steps, and even a chain with an accolade. He can do multiple kicks, and his finisher almost 2 or 3 different times. And Reigns hit Superman punches also, even though he took most of the abuse out there. It's almost like Reigns had to go super mode, and once he broke out of that accolade with the chain on it, Reigns pretty much speared Rusev off the top of the steel steps and pretty much took him down from there. And 1, 2, 3, he won. Which I don't think the crowd just kind of got bored. I'm not saying they probably got bored a little, but just looking at this Hell in a Cell match is more of a street fight really, when there are pretty much multiple weapons involved. Like I said, steel steps, a chain, a kendo stick, I believe a steel chair was in there. There's gonna be a table in there at most. Did they use the cage? Yes, but all they did was just kind of knock each other in the cage here and there. And it sounded like nobody didn't really heavily bleed and everything, but I think it was a lot of punch kick in a way, and this thing went over 20 something minutes really, which even I felt like, wow, they're giving him this much time for almost a 30-minute match. And like we knew Roman Reigns was winning. It's not like Rusev was gonna win this match to begin with. Reigns was just winning. It is just like Super Reigns out there because he just won with one finisher, which I've noticed in multiple matches. You can hit Roman Reigns with anything except the kitchen sink, or hit him with a car, and he'll still kick out of it. He will not go down. Reigns will just not go down. And it only took him one finisher to win, but Rusev hit him with everything. A match that nobody really cared about, Bayley versus Dana Brooke, which the crowd was just quiet on their hands for, and nobody cared. Bayley pretty much won with a belly to belly, and that was it. Honestly, this feud never went anywhere above it until one, because of that botched win Dana Brooke did, and the next week was the horrible arm wrestling match, which the crowd really turned on. Pretty much turned on them and did not care and started chanting boring and this is stupid. So the crowd didn't like it. They did like Bayley out there, but it was just some match you would probably see on TV between Bayley and Dana Brooke. So nothing really to speak about from there. Mick Foley and Stephanie McMahon. We're talking about Hell in a Cell tonight, and Chris Jericho talking he was going to put on the list and everything. Enzo and Cass won against Gallus Anderson, which before they did that, which was a very great promo in my opinion from Enzo and Cass, calling them the Big Gallows and Andy there from Toy Story, Andy. and talking about Woody's gonna be on the bottom of his boot. That's what Cass is gonna have, and Andy's gonna be on the bottom of his boot and stuff. And we don't get on the right track anyway. And to be honest, Enzo and the Cass were pretty much gold on this mic, especially whatever segment they do when they talk. And the crowd was all over them. The Toy Story references were somewhat funny here and there, but they went against Gallows and Anderson. Gallows and Anderson won and beat, or just club and beat. You know, they beat Enzo and Cass, but does it really matter? Because I believe this feud is just gonna keep continuing for a minute. This is at the beginning, but then again, Enzo and Cass, not Enzo and Cass, but Gallows and Anderson don't win any matches it begins with, and Anderson eats a lot of these pins. So it just looks like who gave a fuck if Gallows and Anderson won, to be honest. Who gave a flying fuck? Because they were lost on Raw 2 times, and then again, we can look at the beginning of it, they've been brought on Raw from A, getting destroyed by Roman Reigns, B, getting beat by New Day back to back, and then you only could see Enzo and Cass were kicking the shit out of them until they got one win tonight. So Enzo and Cass, I don't want to keep saying Enzo and Cass. Gallows and Anderson lose more than they win, and they needed the win, but it just kind of looked like who gave a fuck win. Next match was Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins, Hell in a Cell match for the Universal Championship, which I thought should have been the main event, really, of this whole show, which was really a great match, especially even how Jericho got in from Kevin Owens using a fire extinguisher to you know, hit the referee, and then Jericho ran out. I did like the kick thing they did from the Enziguri to a super kick pedigree, and then it was just a clothesline, which the fans chanted, "This is awesome." Some people complain because of the no selling thing, but I did like those kicks right there. One spot that was really great was the table spot, where even Seth Rollins couldn't pick up Kevin Owens at one point because of the weight, and Kevin Owens had to hoist himself up there so Seth Rollins can throw him outside with the power bomb, even though he kind of no-sold it anyways, because Kevin Owens was back up in about 30-45 seconds and got back in the ring, really, when he put him in there to pin him. But it pretty much turned into a handicap match at the point in time, with pretty much Jericho and Owens attacking Seth Rollins in the ring, and they did put on a way better match. But once Owens and Jericho pretty much came in with the chairs and stuff, and hit him with a DDT, and pretty much Jericho Owens in with a pop-up power bomb on the chairs, I believe, on top of 2 chairs, really. He got the win, and then Jericho did a code break on Seth Rollins after the match. So a way better Hell in a Cell match, really, which I liked, which was somewhat predictable and stuff of Kevin Owens winning, because Chris Jericho was going to get in this match involved one way or another. He was very over out there when people just started chanting Y2J, Y2. To be honest, Chris Jericho is the most over person out of all 3 of these men, really, because of that whole list thing. You just made the list. So that was like one of the best matches of the night, really. TJ Perkins winning against Brian Kendrick for the Cruiserweight Championship. I think the crowd was bored. It was a good match, but funny things I saw throughout this match was the crowd when somebody told Brian Kendrick, "Get a fucking haircut, you hippie." And someone chanted, "Nike sucks," pretty much to TJ Perkins. And to be honest, they had to get the belt off Perkins. I don't think Perkins could talk, which was horrible. I'm not even sure about the dabbing thing he does at this point anymore. It's like he couldn't talk, and I don't know, the stuff, he just wasn't over. Half the other cruiserweights are more over than him. Rich Swann is more over, Cedric Alexander is more over than him, and Kendrick had to take the belt. I just think because he's a heel. And another thing, TJ Perkins like a goof after, he didn't trust Kendrick really before in the backstage segments and stuff, dodging sucker punches and doing all that. But to just go check on him, thinking that he had an ankle injury, and then Brian Kendrick pretty much hit him with a Captain's Hook at the end. I don't know why I just said Captain's Hook. The bully choke. I don't know why they say Captain's Hook, but it's the bully choke now. It's still the bully choke. I don't know why they say Captain's Hook, but I like the bully choke better. He pretty much hit with the bully choke and won the Cruiserweight Championship by tap out. So he's a heel and it works, but they had to get the belt off TJ Perkins, really. They just had to get the belt off him. They talked about NXT for a minute. Shinsuke Nakamura will be going to Samoa Joe for Survivor Series. Tag team titles are on the line. Pretty much up next with Big E and Xavier Woods going against Sheamus and Cesaro of the New Day. They were, New Day, well, Kofi Kingston's hometown. He's from Boston, Massachusetts, and everything. And this match kind of went by, and it was by DQ. The finish was very odd, especially how they used the trombone, and then it was a DQ with Kofi doing the Trouble in Paradise on Sheamus. And because Cesaro did a sharpshooter thinking he was going to win, but he didn't. And they pretty much bickered, but the New Day walked out as champions, most likely. And to be honest, it made no sense when they won the week before the pay-per-view. So we kind of knew New Day was winning to begin with. And they're just doing it so they can keep this title reign going. I don't know what it is, 470-something days or whatever day they're at now. They just want them to beat Demolition's record because they hate Demolition. Like I said before, they hate Demolition right now because of the whole concussion cases. So they want New Day to have this title reign and they're going to keep it rolling. So this is the only way why they're champions. They played a Brock Lesnar vs. Goldberg video, which going back to the sit-down interviews with Brock Lesnar, pretty much said he doesn't give a shit about Goldberg's wife or son, and pretty much says, I don't give a fuck about this guy, which they'll let Brock Lesnar say anything just because of Brock Lesnar, even though they did horrible last week on Raw to do whatever they were trying to do in Minnesota to get people to boo at them, and I don't know if this match is going to work out at Survivor Series, but we're going to see. And as we move into the main event, Sasha Banks vs. Charlotte in a Hell in a Cell match for Women's Championship. And wow, let me say a lot about this. I get that they want to make history, in a way, which they focus way too much on trying to make history out of this. And they gave them cool entrances with Charlotte coming out on a throne, and Sasha reinventing her NXT TakeOver Brooklyn entrance with the Cadillac and stuff SUV coming out. But they worked, I'll say this right here before I get any more. They worked hard in this match. They did what they could, and they put on a good match. But I don't think it should have not been the main event. It did not need to be a main event. Because we pretty much began off with JoJo was about to do the ring introductions, but Charlotte immediately attacked Sasha and went outside the ring, which they weren't even really going to climb up the cage in the begin with. And they fought through the crowd, but when they tried to climb up it, Sasha knocked Charlotte down and pretty much tried to climb down, but I'm sure that I heard Vince changed a lot of these things in the match. Charlotte pretty much had to spike Sasha Banks off onto the table to get it through because she's very small. And to be honest, when I'm looking at this match, there are two things I'm thinking of when they got to this spot. A, it was pretty much like 2 years ago with Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins when they both tried to climb up the cage a little and they fell on the tables, but they didn't have them fall on the tables. They pretty much had Charlotte had to spike powerbomb Sasha through the table. And almost like the Mick Foley and Undertaker thing back then, with them bringing out the EMT, saying, with Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. Pretty much, get the EMTs, come out. And it's like we didn't see X-Sign go out, so everybody thinks the match is not over. And they try to carry Sasha out, but she, gets adrenaline and goes back in the ring. And yes, they did go at it with each other. I did like the monkey flip spots into the cage. I thought that was cool. And they did get weapons involved pretty much. Even, Sasha doing a bit of an Eddie tribute right there, doing the Three of Egos and the Frog Splash. But when the tables kind of got involved, they kind of got bad. This is where it didn't go well. They set up a table. Kind of outside the ring at first. It was in the ring and out the ring. They set it out the ring, and they both went up to the top of the pretty much turnbuckle. And she was supposed to knock Charlotte or kick her into it, but Charlotte went into the table and barely hit it, and I think that killed the crowd right there. Like, that was a horrible table spot. Barely even went through, and it was going to end up on Botchamania, most likely. But with them still going at each other in the ring, this is where the most anticlimactic part of this match happens, which made no sense to me. Pretty much, I'm sure they're going to use her whole back problems thing and stuff. It was just Charlotte. She threw Sasha Banks into the table because Sasha was gonna do a power bomb on her on the table, but Charlotte pretty much threw Sasha into the table like 2 or 3 times, hit natural selection, and it was over. And it was just anticlimactic as fuck. That's what it was. It was just very anticlimactic. It just looked like it came and went. And you know, I felt like Sasha was gonna lose his title in a way. Number one, I guess Vince likes having people lose in their hometown. And then again, they played hot potatoes so much, which I noticed this pattern now. Sasha wins it on Raw, she lost it at SummerSlam. Sasha wins it on Raw again, she loses it on Hell in a Cell. Now as for Raw, I don't know when she'll show up again, but is it gonna be, once again, is she gonna win it on Raw again and then lose it at Survivor Series, which I don't think they're doing a team thing. And as for Charlotte there, I think they're trying to keep this pay-per-view win streak up going, or either B, they want her to be like her dad and hold the women's championship 16 times maybe. And it just was a very anticlimactic finish. No Nia Jax coming out ripping the cage door off like Kane or anything. It just kind of looked like, what the hell was that at the end? You just say it was the most anticlimactic finish. It just like, I don't think they deserved the main event. The table spot was bad. The way they tried to do the Mick Foley and Taker thing, or Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins spot, felt like it went long, and then the time went over many minutes. Really, like I thought the show was supposed to end at the 45 or 50 mark. This show went over to the next hour into the 15-20 minute part. So how long are they gonna be in this match? Because even I was waiting for it to end at one point. So I was like, what the hell is this now? So I don't know where this could have gone, or who could have got what, but I don't think they deserved the main event, really. They had a good match, but it was not, I don't think it should have been the main event, really. I think Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens had a better match. They kind of stole the show, you ask me, and would have had a way better match. They did have a better match, but they should have been the main event. And, you know, as for the rest of the show and everything, New Day versus Sheamus and Survivor was just kind of like whatever. They're still the champions. Club beating Enzo and Cass is almost like, who gives a fuck? You haven't lost one really any match, barely. Perkins versus Kendrick was good, but I think the crowd just didn't give a shit really. And I told you what that fan that said, get a fucking haircut, Yippee, was kind of funny. Reigns versus Rusev, it was very predictable. We knew who was winning. It was a good match, but they threw everything at the kitchen sink at Roman Reigns, and he still kicked out. Bayley versus Dana Brooke, who gave a fuck? Really. If I'm really gonna grade this pay-per-view for Hell in a Cell, I'm probably gonna give it maybe a 6.5 out of 10 or a 7. Maybe the Hell in a Cell thing, but I don't think the women should deserve the main event. I think Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins should have been the main event. Like I said, the match wasn't bad between both women, but it just didn't make any sense at one point in this Hell in a Cell. And it's not like nobody was gonna bleed. It's not like nobody was gonna jump off the cage and do some crazy insanity spot or anything like Shane McMahon just jumping off the cage just because. So it's not like we didn't see anybody bleed. Some scratches, some bruises, stuff like that from there, but no heavy blood to the face or jumping off the cage. No, I think people knew that wasn't gonna happen. So sometimes I feel like the Hell in a Cell was just to have a cage around. It looked like more, having these matches like more was an Extreme Rules match with just a cage around it. And that's what it was. Because we had tables involved, kendo sticks involved, chains involved, steel steps involved. It was more of an Extreme Rules match with just a cage on top of it. And that's my opinion of that. But that's my Hell in a Cell review. I'm out of here. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.